Broadcasting Corporation or participating sponsors.
Get ready for the return of the largest blues festival in the world. The Chicago Blues Festival is heading to Millennium Park June 4th through the 7th, and WVON will be there. Will you?
The blues is all right. Hey, the blues is all right.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
Hey.
Sorry, there's no sound.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. We are up live on Facebook. Be sure to like the WVON page. Interact with me. I'll be sure to talk back with you. If you would like to keep up with me exclusively, be sure to follow me across all social media platforms at Follow Cleopatra. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. That's right. Check me out. Follow at The Cleopatra Show. That is my handle on YouTube. At The Cleopatra Show is the @ symbol. Check me out. Be sure to like and subscribe. Support that Black woman. Believe that Black woman. My clip ready? All right. So listen, guys, we're going to go to our traditional route. We're going to play this opening clip. You want to hear this.
You and I and everyone else. Sorry about that. Thank you. You were in speeches for him, and campaign for him. You were implicated in this for sure. It's not enough to say I changed my mind. Or like, oh, this is bad. I'm out. It's like, it's very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now. So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, the question does present itself immediately.
And we are back, of course, it's Delta time. It's 9:13, and the voice you're listening to is Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson took to his platform yesterday, and this is breaking all across the country, really around the world, because his platform reaches millions, to say that he's sorry. Did you already know that? I like when a person tells me I'm sorry. It's a difference than I apologize. We're going to give some lessons. Class is in session. For those that are late, bring a tardy pass. For those that are on time, let's get it, right? He and his brother admittedly said a few things. But the fact that they felt implicated in not only the Trump becoming the administration and all the things in between. And he said a thing. He said it's not, you can't just say, oh, I'm sorry, and back to the regular program. He feels a heavy, heavy chain of guilt. It's Fired Up Wednesday. And we are discussing a few things. But for those that were a part of the 75 million, I'm going to rock some gear tomorrow. I met these dope sisters from Cali that's pushing this agenda that I like. But for those of us that tried to put up the WB sign of Warner Brothers. Isn't it something when you watch Caucasian men in America not only fill up and get an opportunity out of this world to be the commander in chief, but all the in betweens. I mean, stripping 5 Black Star generals and promoting 2-star generals, the attack on DEI, the attack on the Southern Poverty Law Center. I mean, everything that you could possibly, education, everything you could possibly think of under the sun, because they thought the Negro got ahead. And yet, when they are in command of the ship, they can't even make sure it don't rock too much and it remains steady. Is that not enough to make a Negro turn black? I'm just asking. And I'm not asking for a friend. I'm asking for Cleopatra. Tucker Carlson is saying, I'm sorry. Is that going to change the lives of 20 million Americans who will go without health insurance? Not to mention the umpteenth of millions that will be removed from supplemental nutritional assistance programming, better known as SNAP, to Black folks, food stamps. Is it not enough to just make, are you fired up? 773-591-16. Did he mean it when he said, I'm sorry? I'm sorry. So the question of the day is, Tucker Carlson and his brother admitted to being implicated in the election and uplift of Trump 2024. Should he and others face criminal charges or civil penalties regarding harm caused to Americans? I'm asking, since he admittedly said that he and his brother are implicated. Their hands are dirty. They're blood stained. Blue stain if you get you, if you know something about it. But the point is, are you fired up? I'm just asking. Does it matter when the whites apologize? Especially Caucasian men with a mega microphone. Tucker Carlson's platform is strong. I am watching regret after regret in some of these small towns. I'm going to do some special coverage. Shout out to MS Now that pointed this out. It's a town that is getting nothing but sewage. Welcome to Black America. Well, Black communities are undergoing, you all just turn the cheek and the head. Not all, but the vast majority, especially those in electoral power. Now there's a Caucasian, predominantly white town that voted overwhelmingly 80% for Trump. And this is the Trump administration giving them the waste, the bow, the flooding, all because they want to build an ICE prison detainee concentration camp. Is this what you voted for? Trump's approval rating is at 32%. I woke up laughing. And then I got angry again because it's not funny. This is where we're at. Today I'll be discussing broom swept. If you know, class, what it means to be broom swept, you better ask what happened in Virginia last night. The Democrats broom swept Virginia. Now, again, what does that mean for us? Black America? Depends on what you ask for. Or better yet, what you demand. The phone lines are definitely yours, 773-591-1690. Tucker Carlson say he's sorry. His brother say that he's sorry. I could have told him there was some sorry-ass white boys from the jump when they continue to promote foolishness knowingly. So if you watch the rest of the tape, he admits to knowing that the man cognitively wasn't all there. But as long as it was something in the agenda for them, until it wasn't anymore. This is not funny. This is real. But one thing about it I will give him is the fact that he is willing to try to turn the tide, even though he's been eating off the fat of the land. How does that make you feel? Welcome to the Cleopatra Show. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
WVON turned 63 years young, and we're celebrating all month long. Join us the Black Ensemble brings his musical legends, his voice, his moves, his music. It changed everything from Jackie Wilson's Lonely Teardrops to higher and higher.
Virginia Moment going on? I got some of my rodents I've been reaching out. No.
WVON night at the Black Ensemble Theater, 4450 North Park, Friday, April 24th.
Get your tickets now at blackensembletheater.com or click the Black Ensemble banner at WVON.com.
WVON is 63 and still big fun.
Since 1985, Solo Beauty has been Chicago's home for beauty, culture, and confidence. From locks to curls, find all your favorite brands. Luster Pink, TGIN, Talia Wahid, plus local favorites like Trust Organics, Lock Bay, and Black Panther. When you shop Solo, you support Black jobs, Black business, and Black beauty. Visit us at 8158 South Cottage Grove or 9011 South Ashland, or shop online and on DoorDash. And don't forget to tune in Tuesdays at 9 p.m. for the Black Hair Care Business Talk Show on WVON. Shop Solo, shine together.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin Moore Show, getting you from your work week to your weekend each and every Friday night from 6
Hey,
p.m.
Matt, you see my song request?
Yeah, Nita Baker.
Yeah, and the start time. Okay. Make sure we're ready to go because that was YouTube. I don't know if it has a commercial.
Okay, we should be set.
All right, cool.
You understand the metaphor embrace light as a rock. It's explaining how heavy the young lady is. It's a thoughtful Thursday on the Cleopatra Show. I have some organic piping hot tea for us to sip. Join me for an exclusive interview with New York's 14th District Congresswoman AOC. This millennial is a room shaker, grassroots organizer, known to be a door knocker, but above all, she's a fierce fighter for working families. No holds barred, hailing straight from the Bronx. In a one-on-one interview with me, she's the light, she's powerful, and she's unfiltered. Her debut on WVON is why you don't want to be late for class. Tune in this Thursday, only on the Cleopatra Show at 9 a.m. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. You understand Limit is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/meeting the moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together. Powered by the Chicago Community Trust. It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there. WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey, we are back. The time is 9:22. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And who can teach you how to apologize? Only Anita Baker. You know, when I heard Tucker Carlson say, "I'm sorry," I said, "Yeah, white boy, you are." When I was in second grade, maybe, Mr. Mason. Shout out to Mr. Mason. That's that Arkansas blood. He was from Arkansas too. He loathed when we would say, I'm sorry. Said nothing about you, sorry. Black empowerment. If you sending your babies to a school where they're not empowered and stand bold in their blackness, they're in the wrong school. And then, and I'm really talking about the school of home and then the school of choice. Amen. Let's be clear. The phone lines are definitely yours. 773-591-1690. Did Tucker Carlson apologize like Anita? Did you believe it? Do you feel how sorry he is? When you look at your wallet, the gas pump, grocery bill, those of us that are recipients of any kind of benefits, you paying back your student loans because they hunted you down. I mean, what part of this administration have you felt? Oh, the Black women that have been just plunged from the workforce and the Black men running second up. Help me understand. Yeah, you sorry. Well, sorry, cut it. The question of the day is this. When you think about being fired up on this Wednesday, Tucker Carlson and his brother admitted to being implicated in the election and uplift of Trump 2024. Should he and others face criminal charges or civil penalties regarding harm caused to Americans? I'm going straight to the phone lines. Let's talk to Asia. Asia, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
But in terms of Tucker Carlson, I suppose it is his epiphany moment, but I don't buy it one bit. He's building a private platform on racism, prejudice, and bias, and as we know, that do not change their spot. And the ancestor, my answer remark said, when someone shows you who they are, you must believe them. More than anything, I have a lingering question. What is the end goal here? What is the expectation? What do you want us to take? Because when it's all said and done, the suffering will still exist in movement. You know, for people that have had 400 years head start, thinking that this would totally break us down as a people of survivorship, I'm not certain what the expectation is. So I'm just not buying it at all. Thank you for making me know.
No, I thank you for being a first-time caller. Woo! Look at that. I appreciate it, Asia. And on top of that, recognizing she ain't buying it. Anita Baker taught us, I apologize. She has a beautiful voice. Beautiful voice. Did Tucker Carlson? Well, I'm sorry. And he went right to it. I'm so sorry. No. Who buying that? Is you listening? Did you miss it? I'm going to play it for you again. Let's talk to Terrence. Terrence, talk to me. Welcome to WVON. Terrence.
Hey, good morning, Coach. How you doing?
I'm on fire. It's Fired Up Wednesday.
Well, actually, this is terms from Canada. I'm sitting in the office. You know, the damage is already done. We had 75 million people leave what Tucker Carlson, Bill O'Reilly, and the rest of these kind of Fox News have done to the American people. And you think about this for a second. So, during now we want to come out with remorse. Everybody's come up there sorry, like I just said. So think about this. So should they be charged with some type of crime? Yes, they should, because they damaged the mind of 75 million people. Some of them, not all of them. I read it to white people in America. I'm sick of Trump now, but I still like him. See, at the end of the day, they took that red pill and they believe anything that they want to believe. That's my comment.
No, I appreciate it. That's a good comment. Oh, I see him. Talk to me, Mark Carter. Welcome to WVON.
So let me ask this question.
Hey, Mark, you gonna tell me how before you start wanting to fight me?
How you doing?
Because it's Fired Up Wednesday. I'm good. I'm ready. Let's go.
That's a question that's never asked, right?
Is it never asked? What's the question never asked?
What's more dangerous, the racism of Trump in the Republican Party, or the conquering of this country through mass immigration?
What was the word you said? The what to this country?
The racism of Trump in the
I heard that part.
that we know about.
I heard that part.
Okay, for the conquering of America through no king in their agenda, to places like they done in California, New York, Florida, all these places. Because I don't know what we're hearing. What are we hearing when we know that if the Democrats get back in power, then they're gonna crank the same plan up that they were pushing, which is to bring the people in. Not only to get the
Now you gonna allow me to see? Here's the deal: when you ask a question, that's a run-on sentence. So you want to run on with your statement, or you want to pause because your question was a little inflated too, because you said the conquering of the states or of America, and I just think,
mainly black folks.
okay, then there you go. Be more specific. I think it's all trash. I think it's all dangerous. The question of the day, and I like to stay within the vein of the question when you call. You know, at the end of the day, for those that are coming out, primarily high-profile MAGAs of the base that generated and created this, Tucker Carlson said, "I'm sorry." Now, why can't? Well, I mean, okay, so then just say that's your comment. You don't care what he said. Now, why can't other folks that partake in this? Because as I understand, if I'm not mistaken, I always ask you, did you vote for Trump?
Yes.
Right. So are you ready to apologize like Tucker Carlson?
Hell no.
So you like Trump in office to this day. And
Yes.
even that white man can see the forest for the trees. So why are you blind?
Because first of all, can't nobody be more blind than black people.
Well, I'm talking about you, black man. Why you always speaking for the Democratic Party? The last I checked, the DNC ain't hired you.
Let me say this. Because I don't care what no white man says.
Really? You cared enough to vote for him? That was Trump. You love that white man. You voted for him. You cared enough. You cared enough to follow that white man, and to this day you still are. And the other white men that have had a aha come to Jesus moment is jumping off the ship, and you still saying, give us free.
I don't care what he's doing.
Oh, so why are you still on the ship?
I'm saying for us here, and as men, we have to stay.
But why are you still on the Trump bandwagon and these white boys abandoning?
I'm trying to say it to you. You keep telling me what white boys doing. I'm their God. They ain't my God.
Really?
Now, let me finish what I'm saying. So I'm saying to you, because y'all say whiteness is serious. Y'all don't even know.
No, you don't know what I think. You ain't got enough time to know what I think. No. You can't dwell on what I think. But go ahead and say what you think.
You ain't the only one that's unconstitutional, y'all understand? You know what I'm saying? It's not okay. It's okay. So now I'm saying, for us, when it comes to these Democrats, we don't know what a white race is coming to.
We don't know. Oh my God. We lived through enough of dynasties to now you sound crazy. Come on now, Mark. I gotta let you go. Between the Verdoliacs, the Dailies. I mean, come on, y'all. 773-591-1690. Do Chicagoans not know what racism looked like? What did Martin Luther King say when he came here? And that man was from the depths of the South. Come on now. See, if you don't know your history, you don't know where you're going. That's why you're still on that ship. Now, you can free yourself if you so choose. We'll be back after this break. Golly. What is wrong with my people? Help them, Lord. Help them. Well, they know what they do. No punishment.
Just reported a 75% increase in law enforcement hours on CTA across several different police aspects of CTA. On yesterday's midday show, Keith Hill, president of the Amalgamated Transit Union 241, said the transit system needs a complete overhaul.
You have just as much drama attack on the north side, on the red line, the brown line. The first one, it's not as much, but it's not an isolated problem. It's a city problem. When I say they take over trains, they take over trains. They take over the system. Somebody else out of money go. Charge $5 for a pony or something.
He says the system can be very dangerous. Well, former Chicago Mayor Richard Daley is at home from the hospital recovering from a stroke. It would be his third, just ahead of his 84th birthday. The mayor's brother, Bill Daley, tells the Chicago Sun-Times that this one was minor compared to the one the former mayor had back in 2014 and was in the hospital for only a few days. So far, Richard N. Daley is the longest-serving mayor in Chicago history. Well, there's major moves happening in Springfield in the fight to keep the Chicago Bears here in Illinois. There could be a vote on a bill as early as today. Lawmakers have been working on the so-called mega projects bill, a bill that would provide property tax incentives to build a stadium in Arlington Heights. Meanwhile, according to reports, the Illinois Federation of Teachers want there to be language in the bill guaranteeing that the big developers won't drain school funds. Meanwhile, the Bears are still eyeballing more than 300 acres of property in northwest Indiana. Well, you can't help but look up when it happens. The downtown bridge lifts are now underway. WVON's Logan Page reports.
Bridge lifts along the Chicago River will resume today as part of the city's
Voting schedule. About 27 downtown bridges will be raised twice weekly, Wednesdays and Saturdays, to allow sailboats and other recreational vessels to travel between Lake Michigan and storage areas. Each lift typically takes 8 to 12 minutes and temporarily stops traffic while the bridges are raised for one heading time. The schedule runs through mid-June. Voting page, our news now, WVON 1690. And you don't want to miss WVON's Night at the Jackie Wilson Story. This Friday, April 24th at the Black Ensemble Theater, 4450 North Clark Street. This outstanding history-making production delivers a soulful tribute to Mr. Excitement. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News, something like that.
It's DL Hughley.
Nick Cannon's logic is as weak as his. Everybody fucking knew that Republicans freed the slaves. Everybody knew it. The last time they did something for black people was 163 years ago. You gotta update your resume. Have a 5-year gap on your resume, serious man. When Republicans did that, Hawaii wasn't a state. If you're going to talk about the greatest of a policy that helped black people out, it should at least be sometime after the fucking war land.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
What y'all mean is that America will come and get you, but it's about the oil. They bombed in Iran, they got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they got oil. They bombed in Libya, they got oil. And now they bombed in Venezuela, they got oil. They even came in after the city to get oil.
Come on, Congressman. That was a great setup. That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
I was having a medical procedure, and I wanted to ensure my kids would get home should something happen to me. I called Attorney Ted London. He provided the land trust and power of attorney. Now my kids and I have to go through the probate process.
After the death of my husband, I had to get my affairs in order. I called Attorney Ted London. Now my family at home will not have to go through the probate process.
773-721-3333. This report is brought to you by Staples. Staples has hundreds of ways to grow your business this spring, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through June 13th and save up to $150 on all your custom prints. Staples, that was easy.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Yeah, I'm Ryan down to a 24-minute trip from 95th Street to downtown. That earlier stall, that earlier semi-stall is still on the 31st Street. As you make your way along Bishop Ford and Tuskegee Airmen Memorial, you're moving along close to the Postage Speed at this time. A big recovery happening along the Ensemble Lakeshore Drive, 67th Street to Jackson, down to 18 minutes, Hollywood Road, down to 15, now slow from Belmont to Chicago Avenue. If you're on the Stevens end, you're looking at 50 minutes still. From my grade behind you to Silver Drive, outbound moving along pretty close to the Postage Speed. The Eisenhower, just shy of an hour. Thorndale to the Mountain Circle, without 55 minutes, and still 51 on the Kennedy from O'Hare downtown, getting to the airport now, a 55-minute trip. Taking a look at our weather, we'll see some cloud covers. The National Weather Service says we will see some sunshine later this afternoon, but temps will remain in the 60s. Right now, we're at 67 in O'Hare. It's 67 in Oak Forest and 67 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in on the Talk of Chicago. 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. The time is 9:38, and you hear Mr. Brown. Did you get up off of that thing? It's Fired Up Wednesday. Woo, baby. I love when Mark called. Mark, you know how to make the blood boil. Here it is. Tucker Carlson said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Me and my brother, I'm sorry. We're both implicated. I'm going to carry this for the rest of my life. And I'm saying, Anita said, she taught you how to, I apologize. Oh, believe me, I do. She knew she was wrong, so she sang this song. Now here it is with this mega microphone of this white boy. He could just say, well, got it wrong this time, guys. But that's just not enough. Millions of Americans have been impacted. So the question of the day, I shall repeat it. It was very simple. Tucker Carlson and his brother admitted to being implicated in the election and uplift of Trump 2024. Should he and others face criminal charges or civil penalties regarding harm caused to Americans? 773-591-1690. Now here it is, Mark Carr, black man in Chicago. And he just dropped the mic. He said, we don't know what white racism looked like here. Excuse me. Dr. Martin Luther King came and said something that has resonated ever since he said the thing out loud. He said Chicago was the most racist experience he had ever had, and he was from the bowels of the South. So make it make sense. If you don't know your history, you know not where you're going, which is why you're probably still on a boat looking for an off-ramp. Forget give us free. You just gonna stay on until you stay on. Yeah, all the white boys jumping off. And Mark Carter said, well, I don't follow no white boys. Well, how did you get to Trump? And why are you still standing behind Trump if you see all of the deep of the MAGAs saying, you know what? I ain't trying to go to hell. I just came for the racism. Going back to the phone lines, let's talk to Derek. I got all these first-time callers wanting to rock with me. I thank you for listening, Derek. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm on fire, and I'm so happy to talk to you. How are you?
Well, I just found it amazing that some of my brethren here in the city can go for the Trump stuff. But I do understand to some degree here talking about what the Democratic Party actually does for us. Because sometimes I think that we are a little too focused on just vote blue no matter who. I worked for immigration in 95 in Zion, and I was there when it transferred over to the Department of Homeland Security. So I worked in the enforcement part. So as a black man from the south side of Chicago, the address of my birth certificate is 4022 State Street. I understand some of that thinking with regard to what are the Democrats going to do for us, because we don't have anything for us, and we're always ramping for other people. Again, I was an immigration special agent, ICE agent, so I understand how my folks think about that, but it's absolutely ridiculous if they think that voting for Trump is going to do anything for us. But we do need to hold the Democratic Party more accountable to something for us. We need to be specific about what they're going to do for us, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans. So that's just my 2 cents.
And if I may, before I let you go, I understand that you are a retired ICE agent. Can you enlighten our listening audience from what it was to what it is now, and whether or not you recognize the actual entity itself?
Yeah, nothing has changed. It's just the way that they do things. I'm a survivor of ICE, just like I'm a survivor of this country as a black man. So I was one of the few. Our numbers in that agency were probably equivalent to what they are for us in California. 5-6%. So it was a survival thing. I don't recognize any real differences in how they operate. It's just I call it hate out loud. They're doing the HOL now. That's all. So,
well, I appreciate that you called, and keep listening to the show. Thanks so much. Let's talk to Brother Randy. Randy, talk to me. Welcome to WVON. Brother Randy.
Yes. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fired up. I'm in great spirits.
I'm glad. I just want to say as a brief, and I won't keep it long. I appreciate the exchange you had with Mark Carter. Mark Carter is a criminal. Just to be honest with you, and I'm telling you this, I'm not going to get real personal with it, but I just want to say this. In 2002, I met Mark Carter at Center for Instance Studies, and Prysner asked me to help his group, right? So, the research, I didn't know that they were installed as nonsense was until a year later in 2003 when we were at a task force meeting at Center for Instance Studies in the Student Lounge where Mark Carter punched Edmund Abdullah for something he disagreed with. This man punched it. I had to grab Mark Carter. And Mark Carter and Paul and other people who part of both as well as other organizations, they were tackling, disrupting this event controlled by an organized organized by Governor Blagojevich and those black Democrats that were active with the Black Caucus and sort of only Black Caucus and sort of. So Mark Carter represents a kind of he is a reactionary force. Well, he's part of the whole black Republicans who support Trump supporters. So him and black maggots that come black maggots. So that's really a very disruptive. They're trying to fragment our community, and they have people calling them in to try to disrupt and trying to make sure that we stay fragmented and disunited. So I think it's important that we try to engage with this stuff. And that's the reason why I called, because I heard him talking, I heard him saying that you lit him up. And I appreciate that, because that's what we need. They need to feel the heat. They need to feel the fire, because they're the ones who are responsible for Trump trying to get into that 15-20% that vote for Trump in 2024. And they don't even, you look at historically, here's Trump in 2016, 2020, over 500,000 people died from COVID because of the moron, Captain Chaos, down the pond, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be quite clear that Trump is signed, because to me, he might be a Frankenstein. So I'm going to call him Trumpenstein, right? And that these white folks who sort of doing Frankenstein is the movie Frankenstein. Frankenstein turned on his master and children. And that is literally something's going to happen. He contains the seed of his own destruction. And because those people responding into Mark Carter and these black Republicans like Ron Chandler and all these other people calling something they love Trump and Hank Cruz, Karen Hicks, and all the others, so they're the ones who are going to suffer. But I'm not going to suffer. We're not going to suffer with them. We got to build our own black infrastructure, our black. There's a movement, a book called Black Movements in America by Dr. Cedric Robinson that you want to check out.
Well, thank you so much, Randy.
Black Comment by James Jennings.
No, I really appreciate it. Let's talk to Tracy. Tracy, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm fired up. How are you?
Sorry, I'm fine. Sorry it took a little while, but can I get back on the phone? I had it on speaker. But I just saw the snippets of, what that guy was saying, Carlson guy, and I just find that if there was more, maybe you can answer this for me, Cleopatra. After the apology, was he actually saying that he's going to take action in order to rectify some of these things that have happened? Is he going to start working with organizations or lobby to go against some of the things that have happened? Because otherwise, what's an apology if you're not going to correct your behavior, correct?
Absolutely.
So I think I agree with one of your earlier callers who said, I'm not falling for it, because unless you put some action behind your words, you're still probably making money. You still probably have your stock options, in some type of oil or defense spending contractor, manufacturer, and you've made your money, or maybe he didn't let you know ahead of time that he was going to lie about the straits being open, and so that you can buy more stock options. I don't know what has pissed them off or whatever, but they have made a lot of money. And you spoke about the 400 years in addition to that. Let's see if we can present him. I don't know if he'll be open to it, but maybe there needs to be a spokesperson for all of these different things, atrocities that have happened since Trump has been in office, and how anybody who apologizes or who regrets, what we need them to do in order to rectify these things that have happened to this global community, and how we can stand up against some of these things in policy, moving forward. Are you going to support these policies to correct it? What are you going to go on, supporting that will show that you do have remorse? Because other than that, talk is cheap, baby.
I love your assessment. Great call, Tracy. Listen, when we come back, Raymond is calling me from Capitol Hill. Miss Eunice got something to say, and Leon is on the ones and twos. What is an apology without words? And then there's a distinct difference, and I've known this since the tender age of 7, between sorry and apology. And I think Anita Best taught us what apology means. And believe you, I apologize. What are you doing about it? And where do we stand today? Should it be civil or criminal in terms of the implications, especially when you admit it yourself? When we come back, we're going to visit that question. You don't want to miss this.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, this is Jill Ross, creator and producer of the Chicago Read-In. I'm excited to join WVON for this cultural experience that is designed to excite and stimulate the minds of young people ages 6 to 16. Join us Saturday, April 25th at the Harold Washington Cultural Center, 4701 South King Drive at 12 noon for an amazing show that will keep young people and their parents on the edges of their seats. From dance to music to mime to art to rich creative storytelling, there is literally no program like the one we put together that offers a cultural lens while igniting the minds of young people. The Chicago Read-In is free, but you must register at Eventbrite or WVON.com. We'll see you Saturday, April 25th. The Chicago Read-In is produced in conjunction with Vaughn TV's series Turn the Page, which premieres this summer.
The Chicago Read-In is powered by Comment. Smart conversations with smart people makes us smart. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. From Colin Woodard on Nations Apart, to Gloria J. Brown Marshall breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler sharing a story of resilience and redemption and stitching free. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter. Because every book has a story, and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Vaughn TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, and VON.TV.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Vaughn TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. Vaughn TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Things are changing fast, and no one knows what comes next. I'd like these to make you realize just how important it is to you. That's where my Patriot Supply comes in. They're America's #1 most trusted resource for survival food, solar power, water filtration systems, and more. Go to preparewithamerica.com to unlock a special offer that will help you get ready for whatever comes our way. Go to preparewithamerica.com. You see the special offer right now. That's preparewithamerica.com. Lots of places can expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes in your financial accounts, they'll alert you right away. Alter text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 40% off your first year. Promo code number, LifeLock.com, 800-LifeLock, LifeLock.com. Use promo code back at LifeLock.com.
Beauty is more than style, it's a story. And now, you get to hear it straight from the source. Solo Beauty Supply presents the Hair Tour Radio Show, coming to WVON Saturdays beginning April 28th at 2 p.m. From Chicago to the West Coast, top salon owners pull back the curtain on the business, the culture, and the grind behind the chair. From building brands to shaping communities, this is where beauty meets bosses. Tune in, tap in, and take notes. The Hair Tour Radio Show, Saturdays beginning April 28th at 2 p.m. only on WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 9:53. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And of course, it's Fired Up Wednesday. And we're talking about a sorry. Is it a sorry individual? Was it a sorry statement? You let me know. Tucker Carlson and his brother took to their platform, Tucker Carlson's platform, to admit that they messed up. They said, I'm sorry. So my question of the day is, Tucker Carlson and his brother admitted to being implicated, those is his words, not mine, in the election and uplift of Trump 2024. Should he and others face criminal charges or civil penalties regarding harm caused to Americans? Now, the blood boiled when Mark Carter called, and not only does he stand firm with Trump, but he said he ain't sorry. Now, all these white boys jumping ship. They got these mega platforms, mega this, mega that. Mark Carter said, white boys don't move me. I'm just trying to figure out then, how did you follow Trump? Because that white man moved 77 million to do so. And he's one of them. Now, any event you got wrong, why not try to make it right? He said he didn't get it wrong. How do you feel? Should Tucker Carlson and others like him that have this huge apparatus of influence be held to some extent? Because he admits that he's implicated in the doing of Trump and all of the things. His brother wrote his speeches. He says it all, and it's on tape. Let's talk to Raymond. Raymond, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call. And I'm going to be a long time for the Hill, and I welcome you to the Hill and the support staff. And my opinions are just my own. I voted for Trump, and I don't regret it. I regret it bitterly. I've watched my co-workers, most of them, young women, get emails. They told me at 3 in the morning, let the women know their services were no longer needed. And they've been in the federal government for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Prince George's County, which is one of the black affluent counties in the country, in Prince George's, Maryland, has now the lowest rate of mortgage foreclosure. Yeah, I voted Trump, and I regret it bitterly, and I apologize. It was a grave mistake. I voted out of my emotion and not doing my research and everything. I went to the Action Network's conference in New York. Me and my female friend, and my female friend had the privilege of meeting Kamala Harris after she spoke. And she actually, and Kamala Harris said one word that I don't think if I would have done everything that you may have wanted to do as president, but I can assure you one thing. We wouldn't be in this mess that we are now. And she surely was the foreign people arbitrarily without no reason. I believe in government efficiency and downsizing. There must be billionaires to come in and do an algorithm and just arbitrarily just terminate people. And as far as that guy who called in and he's on the Trump bandwagon, he reminds me of Samuel L. Jackson, who played in the movie Django. He couldn't believe he got blacks like that, like Tim Scott. He campaigned for Trump so viciously, he told Trump, I love you. And Trump didn't even get him to shine his shoes, get alone for a cabinet position. And now he's nowhere to be seen. I'm embarrassed that I voted for Trump. I am greatly embarrassed. And I've lost several good friends because of it. You can vote for whatever you want. It's a free country. But at least do not vote for your own demise. I'm an independent contractor. I don't work for nothing for the federal government. If I did, I would be out of the job. But anything black, Trump is going after. Thank you so much.
No, and I thank you for that. You know, Raymond, God bless him. That is his second to third time expressing from the depths of what I would say his heart and sincerity of how he went wrong. And I respect that man for that. I do. I wish there were more like him. Like you said, the emotions. See, what we need to do from an institutional standpoint is examine a think tank that will critically figure out how we were marketed. We're the most studied on the planet, and I am exclusively looking at Black people across the planet, but particularly here in this country. So, what will garner our emotions, they know it. And the market research supports it, which is why the communication is so stimulating. And they study it, and they have the data strategists and the statistician to follow it, and it's appealing. And they only did a targeted swath to 20%. I am literally the Black Kornacki when it comes to electoral politics and understanding to the root, to the war room talk of strategy and implementation. And I am sharing with you the things, the quiet parts out loud. And that Black man recognizes in this moment he went wrong. And he didn't need a Tucker Carlson sorry apology. He knew it the moment it happened because everything failed. But for those that are still in the ship, will you continue to sail? Cliff, Leon, Miss Eunice, I want you all to hold tight. I see you all in the chat, and we are going there. It is Fired Up Wednesday. We'll be back after this break.
67 degrees and turning sunny later today on this Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. I'm in a going into the headlines. There could be a vote on a bill in Springfield today to keep the Chicago Bears here in Illinois. Chicago Transit Authority officials respond to a flood of safety concerns after laying off more than 150 security guards. And the Chicago City Council has officially confirmed Kenya Barrett as Commissioner of the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. Today's headlines are powered by our friends at ComEd. Bring the young people in your life, 6 to 16, to the Chicago Read-In, 11 a.m. till 2 this Saturday, April 25th at the Harold Washington Cultural Center at 47th and King Drive. It's about culture. It's about literacy and storytelling, and it's free. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform, 1690 AM, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 10:01.
A bipartisan bill advancing in the House would block deportations of Haitian immigrants. 6 Republicans joined Democrats to restore temporary protections. Representative Marie Woodson migrated from Haiti to South Florida and supports the move, also wanting the travel ban lifted.
The travel ban does not simply impose barriers to entry. It erects walls of division.
It now heads to the Senate for a final vote. Black former Dalton, Illinois Mayor Tiffany Henyard is now on the ballot in Georgia, running for Fulton County Commission as a Republican after admitting she collected Illinois taxpayer money while living in Atlanta. She made nearly $20,000. And Kamora Lee Simmons is headed for another divorce. Court records show her estranged husband, financier Tim Lesner, has files in their nearly 12-year marriage, citing irreconcilable differences. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. To Terry McCurdy.
A Black lawmaker from Florida resigning from Congress, Sheila Sherfless McCormick stepped down shortly before House Ethics Committee public hearing. Republican Congressman and Committee Chair Michael Guest reading her letter of resignation.
After careful reflection and prayer, I have concluded it is in my best interest and the interest of my constituents and the institution that I set aside this time.
The committee was sent to determine the sanction recommendations for the Florida Democrat over her allegedly using $5 million in FEMA money for her congressional campaign and personal expenses. Sherfless McCormick maintained her innocence with her criminal trial on the charges delayed until next year. This as GOP Representative Corey Mills is refusing to step down even though he's facing allegations of misconduct. He maintains that he is cooperating with ethics investigators regarding the accusations. Is there a double standard at work? Well, House Speaker Mike Johnson is expressing support and told CNN bills should be afforded due process. Several top Trump administration cabinet members are appearing before Congress today.
Campaigns to failed policy, captured agencies, and profit-driven systems have caused balance across the country and change.
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appearing before the House Ways and Means Committee in a hearing last week, examining the budget priorities of the Department of Health and Human Services. And he's back on Capitol Hill today, along with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Energy Secretary Chris Wright. All are appearing before Senate committees to examine proposed budget estimates and justification. President Trump's 2027 budget request is being discussed. Tiffany Henyard is coming clean as she acknowledged during
Wednesday while serving as mayor of Dalton, Illinois. Controversies continue swirling around her as she's been dubbed America's worst mayor. Henyard led the Chicago suburb from 2021 through 2025 and made the admission while defending her eligibility to run for a seat on the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. The hearing was to determine whether she met the position's residency requirements after questions came up about when she relocated. Henyard said she had established residency in Georgia as of May of 2025. In Georgia, county commissioner candidates must establish residency in the county at least a year before the election. The new Black Wall Street market is closing at the end of the month after barely 5 years in operation. Located in the Georgia city of Stonecrest, the new Black Wall Street market is a consortium of Black-owned shops. Vendors include artists, designers, and restaurateurs, using Tulsa's legendary Black Wall Street as a template. General Manager Onethia Flowers says overall business, operation, facility, and financial issues are all factors. Closing. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Mala VIN is the sound of your never. You can work on access. I'm Terry Cooper on the Black Information Network. WVON turned 63 years young in April, and we're celebrating all month long. Wow! Join us for WVON night at the Black Ensemble Theater on Friday, April 24th, for the return of the award-winning play, The Jackie Wilson Story. This electrifying production will have you singing and dancing in the aisles as the Black Ensemble brings this musical legend to life. His voice, his moves, his music. It changed everything from Jackie Wilson's lonely teardrops to higher and higher. It's more than a musical. It's a theatrical experience. Join WVON's afternoon personalities, Fatima Buchanan, and me, LaDonna Ray, as we host WVON night at the Black Ensemble Theater, 4450 North Clark, Friday, April 24th. Get your tickets now at blackensemble.com or click the Black Ensemble banner at WVON. WVON is 63 and still having fun. Hi, I'm Prysner, host of Meeting the Moment, WVON in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed with and provide voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing big challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing it well, quietly, faithfully, powerfully. Meeting the Moment will have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness. It's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for individuals. For more information, visit wvon.com/meeting the moment. Listen every Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago. Let's move the moment together, powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Autism is not one story. It's many unique journeys that deserve to be seen, heard, and understood. This Saturday on the Community Health Focus Hour, host Carl West and you Chicago medicine experts will look at autism in our community, embracing every unique journey. Hear perspectives from community leaders and an adult on the autism spectrum, sharing their personal journey. Listen this Saturday at 1 p.m. on WVON and Facebook Live. The Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., powered by the Urban Health Initiative of U Chicago Medicine at the forefront.
Traffic weather now.
Big improvement along the Bishop Ford, Tuskegee Airmen Memorial and New Sabo Drive. Traffic moving along the closest each way.
If you're on the Ryan, you're down to just about 19 minutes from 92 feet to downtown. Outbound things are pretty quiet. These are pointed down quite a bit along the Stevenson in from 355 to South Drive, a 40-minute truck traveling out. If you're on the Eisenhower, you're down to 45 minutes with going into the Park Circle and out to about 40. And the Kennedy moving along at a 40-minute pace and from here to downtown, getting to the airport, 40 minutes as well. Again, look at our weather. The National Weather Service says that these clouds are going to give way to some sunshine as temperatures pretty much remain steady in the 60s. Right now, we're up to 68 degrees at O'Hare. It's 68 in all progression and 68 here at the top of Chicago. So look at traffic and weather now. I'm in Everett on the top of Chicago. 1690 WBON.
WVON is proud to be an official radio partner for the Chicago Blues Festival, June 4th through the 7th at Millennium Park. We're bringing generations together, one blues riff at a time. We don't get your way.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 10:10. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show, and it's Fired Up Wednesday. I just saw some foolishness come across the screen just a while ago. The indictment on the Southern Poverty Law Center. I didn't know which way Cash Patel was looking at. Maybe it was the door. While he trying to drum up a nonsensical lawsuit of the speculations that him been fired on his day off. Meanwhile, what's undeniable is the brazen attacks on everything that impacts Black excellence in this country while surviving it. We some skillful folk. Tucker Carlson and his brother admitted to being implicated. They feel as though they're implicated in the becoming of Trump. So much so his brother wrote his speeches and he just gave them this mega microphone and multifaceted of endorsements. And all he had for America is that, I'm sorry. Is that enough? From where Anita Baker and I said, I apologize is a good start. I already knew you were sorry. Say, I apologize is a great start. But why not say, I apologize? There's a reason for that. Trust and believe. Before I take the calls, I just want to let you all know to mark your calendars. I've been saying this. I'll be on the stage with some talent. That's right. This one is for the culture. Join us Saturday, April 25th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Harold Washington Cultural Center for the Great Chicago Read-In, a powerful celebration of literacy, creativity, and family. Hosted by me. That's right, your favorite millennial. I'll be on the stage featuring incredible performances from the Hip Lay Ballerinas, Fernando Jones, who hung out with me yesterday, Mad Rhythms Tap Academy, and more. This is where stories come alive, sparking imagination for all ages. It's free, Free. But as a caveat to it, you must register to attend. Get your tickets now at eventbrite.com or bring the entire family. Mi familia. I want to see you all in the audience. I look forward to receiving you. Now, the chat has been going up like a crescendo. I will jump into the chat, but first I'm going to jump on these phone lines. Let's talk to Miss Eunice. Miss Eunice, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Sandra?
How are you?
Can't shake this allergy, but I'm doing okay. You know, Randy is on point, and I admire Raymond. Tucker Carlson's got to show me, and I don't know how he could do that. He and Trump had words before, if my memory serves me well, and he slid back. And I say also to him, what goes around, come around. And he didn't like the thought of an educated Black woman holding the highest office. When you have a man now who's clearly mentally disturbed and he doesn't care about anyone but himself. He has 34 felonies, no moral principle, and implicated in sex crimes with Epstein. So where do you go from there? And there is no excuse for Trump. He's not fit for any office. And I can't believe some black people. We had men in slavery who sold us out. The Democrats are not perfect, but what are the Republicans doing? They are holding office now. They're going along to get along. And thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely, Ms. Eunice. You always set us straight. Let me read this comment. Donald Ford. Donald, I appreciate you following the show. Don't think I don't read all of the comments, because I do, and I'm going to lift yours up. He said, I hear zero criticism of Biden, who put the death knell in the Black community, allowing millions of criminals in the Black community. You realize you don't hear zero anything about Joseph R. Biden, because Joseph Biden is not the president. Not only is Joseph Biden not the president, the Democratic Party is not in power. Absolutely none. Not the House, not the Senate. And apparently the Republican Party, that grand old party, has the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, by the throat. So what would I be talking about Joe Biden for when Joe Biden has been laid out to pasture? He's just preparing for the upper room, and I ain't rushing him, especially as he is fighting to survive prostate cancer. So no, there's no conversation about Joseph Biden, because the president, Donald John Trump, does enough every day to keep us on our tippy toes, as he has absolute power with 32% approval rate and an unsanctioned, unconstitutional war. Not to mention his name is mentioned in the Epstein files more than Jesus is listed in the Bible. Shall I go on? I could. I can go toe to toe. When it comes to all things Trump, as a Black woman, I about embody it. I find him to be the most fascinating creature, because he was created by something. So no, I wouldn't waste not one iota about a Biden who was just waiting and biding his time. And that death knell you refer to too often, I hear the crime bill consistently associated with Biden, and it makes me want to climb a wall, but I'm not Spider-Woman. One thing about that bill he signed, he didn't do it alone. You all would never, ever, 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 and I've shared the stage with her a couple times, and I thank God for our first Black woman to serve in the United States Senate, Carol Moseley Braun, whose name was also signed to it. That was an initiative driven by the Congressional Black Caucus. And they took it to their white counterparts to say, hey, we need help because of the senseless gun violence that was laying to rest thousands of Black folks in county. From their perspective, this is their perspective. There are several Black leaders' names listed in that law that came to fruition. And all you'll ever hear is though it was Biden and Clinton. That's bullcrap. And I'm tired of the propaganda. Give the whole list. And I've pulled the list a couple times. Because there are certain things that in that moment, folks made a decision, and cataclysmically, we understand what we survived as in Black community as a result of it. But it wasn't even Biden's initiative. It wasn't even his bill. So stop it. I will not waste one iota, because he is not in power. The Democratic Party is not in power. It's the grand old party and what's left of it. Now, getting back to the question, I see Cliff is on the live line. Let's talk to Cliff. Cliff, welcome to WVON.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Cleopatra, for taking my call. Listen, I'm trying to be brief, but I just got to get my chest. And I'm doing this because, matter of fact, let me get this disclaimer. I am a sinner. Okay, I have sinned. I have fallen short. Okay, and let me tell you exactly what I've done. I'm with a sister, a Black woman, not a woman, I'm not married. With that being said, I have never claimed or looked at myself as being like Jesus or Jesus. So when I do pray, I pray to the Father, to the Son, to the Spirit. I believe in that. But they're black. Okay? So what is irritating me, frustrating me, I'm serious, is this devil now giving scripture and reading out the Bible as though he's Jesus. He has claimed to be Jesus. He has given means. Not only has he claimed to be Jesus, he's argued with the Pope religiously. He has even claimed to be the Pope. Among other things, but religious, I've never seen any politician who claim to be a religious leader in this day and this time. So with that being said, particularly as he reads Bible scripture, now going back to Carlson, he had said something. Now I didn't like him, but he said something and given a description of this new Trump. He has used the word antichrist. I myself believe that this is the antichrist. Now for black Negro Christians who are in the church, and matter of fact, you know what? If you can do this for me, brother, you can't know that. The other person said, I want black preachers to give us the scriptures. What does the antichrist look like? And I'll end by saying this, we got listeners right now, or listeners to people that proclaim to be followers and pray for Christ, believe that Trump has been sent by God to do his will. In the two subjects that he's fighting against abortion and transgender, Trump is a manifest. And you got white evangelical preachers, all the white and the Oakland, even some Negro preachers, that fight each other over Trump being divine. So my question to you is, God using Trump? Is Trump in the Bible? Help me, Sister Cleopatra.
All right, I will. Absolutely. Let's chew on that, class, because I think if you walk this earth, you are a tool to be used of the Lord, good, bad, or never, because of whatever is in you is to create. I think a moment such as this was meant to happen so that you can appreciate, but you can't go back to whence we were. You can only go forward, but you can't go forward without understanding the lessons of yesteryear. So I just think that there's a lot centered around what Cliff is saying, and I want to let it marinate. We'll be back after this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi at boost speeds to new prices that make the most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice it. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable, and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that. Select dental restrictions apply. Powered by fiber, connection to the premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
Alzheimer's is the fourth leading cause of death among African Americans over 65. If Alzheimer's is affecting you, meet me at the UIC Forum Saturday, April 5th at the 4th Annual Being Society's Conference. It's sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association in One Town. You'll learn more, get your questions answered, fellowship with others who have Alzheimer's, and you'll leave better than you came. The doors open at 9 a.m. and registration is free. Call our helpline 1-800-272-3900. That's 1-800-272-3900. WVON is a media sponsor and proud partner.
I know you're gonna dig this. Yeah, I'll say it earlier. I said what changes if they definitely what do you do that somebody somebody dance or kiss or whatever. I'm not getting with no dumb fans and drink nothing. Y'all don't ever uncertainty in the world right now. Things are changing fast and no one knows what comes next. Times like these make you realize just how important it is to be prepared. That's where my Patriot Supply comes in. They're America's #1 most trusted resource for survival food, solar power, water filtration systems, and more. Go to preparewithamerica.com to unlock a special offer that will help you get ready for whatever comes our way. Go to preparewithamerica.com to see the special offer right now. That's preparewithamerica.com. Lots of places can expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of individuals a second for threats to their identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If they find anything suspicious, like e-loans or changes in financial accounts, they'll alert you right away. Also text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts and make all the difference. Save up to 40% off your first year. Promo code at LifeLock.com. 800-LifeLock. LifeLock.com. Use promo code package LifeLock.com.
Beauty is more than style, it's a story, and now you get to hear it straight from the source. Solo Beauty Supply presents the Hair Tour Radio Show, coming to WVON Saturdays beginning May 2nd at 2 p.m. From Chicago to the West Coast top salon owners, pull back the curtain on the business, the culture, and the grind behind the chair. From building brands to shaping communities, this is where beauty meets boss moves. Tune in, tap in, and take notes. The Hair Tour Radio Show, Saturdays beginning May 2nd at 2 p.m. only on WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back on the Cleopatra Show. The time is 10:26, and I don't want you all to miss out on WVON night at the Black Ensemble Theater Friday. That's right, this Friday, April 24th. Tickets are moving swiftly. The award-winning Jackie Wilson story is back. And believe you me, this show will have you on your feet, singing, dancing, and living your best life. This is the kind of night people talk about all summer long. Hosted by our very own Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Don't wait. Get your tickets now at theblackensemble.theater.org, or you can go to WVON.com and click our banner dedicated to the Black Ensemble Theater and get your tickets that way. Either way, WVON is 63 years young, and we're still having fun. You want to check that out? Come hang out with us. And I expect to see y'all on the stage at the performance right there at the Harold Washington Cultural Center. I mean, we are activating all throughout the month of April. We ain't turning down nothing but our calling. See, that's when you say you the birthday, you just doing the most right there. I'm going back into the chat because we are dropping some comments up in here. You know, for what it's worth, if you were to identify, to Cliff's question, if you were to identify a character from the Bible, and they're not character, one of the people of the Bible or creations in the Bible, to who would he be? I don't think anybody draws life without purpose. And as much as it pains me to see us go through this, it is with purpose. We are living as a result of surviving a global pandemic. And what tales can you tell of it? So even through the second becoming of Trump and all of what is eradicated, you will still have some Black people that swear up and down that being Black had nothing to do with it. It's almost unbelievable. Because if it didn't, there wouldn't have been the eradication thereof of anything that they thought would elevate us. Even though diversity, equity, and inclusion programs programmatically have elevated Caucasian women astronomically more than any other group. Statistically, that was already proven before the eradication or the attack thereof. I'm going back to the phone lines. Let's talk to Karen. Karen, talk to me. Welcome to WVON.
Well, good day, young lady. I had to call in. First of all, I think it's ridiculous when your name is mentioned and people don't know you. So, Randy, please stop that. But I just want to say, Cliff is so right. And 1 Corinthians 1:27 says, I will use the foolish things of this world to dumbfound the so-called wise. Everything that we're looking at us is for our good. It's not about who we like and who we don't like. We all come here with one thing, and you know what that is? That's a choice. And from those choices come consequences, whichever way it goes. We are all wrong to tell anybody that they don't have a choice. You had 3 beautiful sons. And through having those sons, what did you have? You had birth pain. But through that pain came beautiful children. Because of a crack user that used to get on my buses every day, told me, Miss Hicks, your habit is worse than my habit. And I said, what habit do I have? He said, you smoke cigarettes. That was back in 2005. I haven't picked up a cigarette since then. And let me make you understand, I used to love to smoke. Didn't care if I was going to die of cancer, didn't care if you didn't like it. But because that man was on crack and had to ride my bus, he made a statement to me. And because of that statement, it changed my life. Everything in this world plays a role. He said, Jeremiah 29 and 11, he says, the consequence I have for you has nothing to do with wickedness. But he must use the one that can get and do it that we can't. Why are we fighting one another instead of figuring out who are we? What do we possess? We are naturally intelligent people. If we paid attention to the universe, we would be great. But instead, the same people that we're fighting about, so-called the Europeans, everything the Europeans have told us to do, we have rushed to do it. And now, because it's not working, we're angry. I just say this to my people out of love. You are great. You are awesome. There's no others like you. Stop the bickering over the beef and look out the door and see. We are the only ones fighting over some politics. Politics. Poly means many. Ticks means creatures. And that's all that's created. So I say to my people that I love, let's get to know who we are and let people have a right to whatever choice they have. And let's stop with the negativity because words create. I love y'all. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. That takes us right to the break. When we return, I have a special guest. You don't want to miss it.
Clouds are expected to give way to plenty of sunshine. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. There are major moves happening in Springfield in the fight to keep the Chicago Bears here in Illinois. Today, there could be a vote on a bill. Lawmakers have been working on the so-called mega projects bill, a bill that would provide property tax incentives to build a stadium in Arlington Heights. Meanwhile, according to reports, the Illinois Federation of Teachers want there to be language in that bill guaranteeing that big developers won't drain school funds. Meanwhile, the Bears are still eyeballing more than 300 acres of property in northwest Indiana. Chicago Transit Authority officials are responding to a flood of safety concerns after laying off more than 150 security guards. Gary Williams is
Interim CTA President Lauren Richardson says they're redirecting the funds saved to expand their security resources.
We just reported a 75% increase in law enforcement hours with CTA across several different police aspects of CTA.
K-9 teams employed by Action K-9 will continue to work on CTA. The transit agency has increased the presence of police officers in recent months because of pressure from the Trump administration.
Now on yesterday's midday show, Keith Hill, president of the Amalgamated Transit Union 241, said the transit system needs a complete overhaul.
You have Jeffrey versus Brahma attack on the north side, the red line, brown line, purple or yellow solid foot, but it's not an isolated problem. It's a city problem. When I say they take over trains, they take over trains. They take over the city. Somebody about a money go.
He says the system can be very dangerous. Well, Illinois Secretary of State Alexi Janulius is unveiling a brand new state-of-the-art DMV facility and displays. He says the facility will make things easier and faster.
Modernizing services,
improving the customer experience and cutting the time tax that people pay just to access government services.
He added that the Des Plaines DMV is one of the busiest in the region. Well, Ravinia tickets go on sale today. The 2026 season lineup includes none other than Chicago's own Chance the Rapper, along with legendary singer Gladys Knight, Kool and the Gang, Snoop Dogg, and Rod Stewart, and a lot more. This year, they will be debuting their new refurbished pavilion, now called the Hunter Pavilion, in honor of donors Betsy M. and Thomas B. Hunter III. Ticket information and dates of performances can be found on ravinia.org. And Six Flags pre-K passes are back. Children 3 to 5 years old can get free unlimited admission for the entire season. Now you have to register by May 31st on the Six Flags website and be a season pass holder. Now you don't want to miss WVON's night at the Jackie Wilson Story this Friday, April 24th at the Black Ensemble Theater, 4450 North Clark Street. This outstanding history-making production delivers a soulful tribute to Mr. Messiah. Well, that's a look at our news now. On 16 WVON, traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 10:35.
First the president, now a presidential city. The OPC opens Juneteenth weekend in Chicago. Where will you be? Where WVON.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. Keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Reverend Al told you personally. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
Experience the power, passion, and breathtaking athleticism of Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater live at the Auditorium April 24th through the 26th, under the direction of newly appointed Artistic Director Alicia Kraft Mack. 1 legendary dance company, 2 unforgettable programs, 3 spectacular days, and 4 incredible performances. From powerful storytelling to electrifying movement, enjoy Ailey's 5 Chicago premieres, contemporary favorites, and beloved masterpieces. Tickets are on sale now at auditoriumtheater.org. Secure your seats today.
April is STI Awareness Month, and the Chicago Department of Public Health reminds us that sexual health is a vital part of your total health and well-being. If you're sexually active, getting tested regularly is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your partner's health. It's quick, easy, and completely confidential. The Chicago Department of Public Health sexual health clinics in Austin, Roseland, and Lakeview offer free testing and treatment, as well as free condoms and over-the-counter pregnancy tests. To learn more, go to chicago.gov/sexual health.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network on TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.tv. VON TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter.
We're up to way over 200 million here. Yeah, give us money back. How about that? People in Bellwood got 10 million, Broadview 6 million, Burns 3 million, South Hollywood 17 million. The city of Chicago's up to $190 million that we have given back to African Americans. Who does that? Nobody does that but WVON.
Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas with Black Houses Matter, Monday mornings at 11:30 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This report is brought to you by Ashley Furniture. Ready for a home refresh? Now's the season to finally make it happen. At Ashley Spring Savings and 72 hours, save up to 25%. Time to purchase a new select spring styles starting at just $4.99 and only at Ashley's.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Major changes in your travel time, but we are tracking a new incident along the inbound side of the Bryant. Apparently, there's a disabled motorcycle on the right shoulder right there at Pershing, not affecting your travel time. Traffic's still pretty light, but that inbound triple line street to downtown just about 16 minutes. Taking a look at our weather, we're going to see gray skies. The National Weather Service promised we'll see some sunshine later today. Temperatures maintaining in the 60s tonight, level around 51. That was 67 anyway. It's 66 in West Norfolk Park, down to 66 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. Let's look at traffic and weather now. I'm at the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 10:39. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And I am going to cover this story. I thought it was very profound, being the daughter of a veteran. Right now, we are living through an unconstitutional, unsanctioned war in Iran. How did we get here? So, yesterday, a coalition of groups, including the Center on Conscience and War, protested inside the rotunda on the Capitol Hill. The groups were demonstrating against a potential escalation of war in Iran, calling for no war in Iran. I thought that that was just profound because they were veterans. And I don't know if you all remember a month or so back, the veteran whose arm was broken as he was being dragged and hauled out of the subcommittee of the congressional leaders, who's on the live line to join us in conversation is the executive director for the Center of Consciousness and War. I hope I'm saying this right. Mike Prysner. Mike, welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, I'm so grateful to have you. Talk to us because several veterans were unfortunately arrested and or detained. Tell us about the organizing and the purpose of what I saw on national news that I wanted to cover here at WVON.
Yeah, well, I was one of about 150 people, mostly veterans, wearing our pieces of our uniform. We were also joined by military family members, including those who have loved ones deployed to the Middle East, to the combat zone right now. We went to Congress, where Congress is continuously approving tens and tens of billions of dollars for Donald Trump to continue this illegal and immoral war against the will of American people who predominantly opposed the war and wanted to end, and could probably use those tens of billions of dollars for the real economic problems we have here in this country. We went to hold a very loud, boisterous demonstration where they are making decisions that negatively impact the lives of so many millions of people. And so, we went in knowing that we would be arrested due to the interpretation of civil disobedience. So I was one of around 70 of that group who were detained and arrested and taken out. But before we were detained, we were able to have a loud and powerful demonstration that reminded Congress that if they were going to continue this, we were not going to keep it.
And I wanted to talk about, the fact that you served our country in what branch? So, and were there all branches represented?
Yeah. All four branches will start to all generations. I mean, there's people from Vietnam War, Gulf War, Iraq War, Afghanistan War. So really represented. What Congress has done. I mean, they created this group of militant and rowdy and angry and betrayed veterans. They sent us for the past 25 years, post 9/11, over and over again to two wars that were disasters that never should have happened. That were wars that the U.S. ultimately, lost at the expense of so many thousands of Americans and so many millions of people in the countries that we occupied. And their quality there has led to a generation that don't want to see it happen again to another generation. And I think that was a big part of our motivation to go and to take part in this action is to send a message to the people who are serving today to say don't make the same mistakes we made. I think I can speak for the other veterans that were there with me that we wish we could turn back the hands of time and have never gone to those. But service members today have that option, and that's one of the other things here in my career.
And I want to talk about that, and I'm glad you're bringing it up because at the start of this unconstitutional war, unsanctioned war, there was this organizing around Barron Trump. If you're going to send my son, send yours. What do you say to that?
Look, I mean, we know this from every war in U.S. history. It's poor working class people who go fight the wars. The rich, they actually make money off it. Not only do they not fight, but it benefits. You know, this Baron Trump in particular, he's doing his little insider trading on the gambling websites with inside information about who's going to do what, who's making money off it. Those are real class dynamics to military service today. The ones that make the decision for us to go and die are at least millionaires, but probably more multi-millionaires, multi. You know, I mean, these are the people that make the foreign policy decisions of our country, the people that run the arms industry that makes all the money off of it, the politicians that receive, money from those companies and are invested in those companies. And so, I think American people need to see it for what it is. And I think it's a really, it's real for people because, they know people who have loved ones in the military. They know that they join because, there's a real injustice in this country that one of the only jobs you can get where your employment is guaranteed, your housing is guaranteed, quality housing is guaranteed, health care is guaranteed, food is guaranteed, dental care is guaranteed, is in the military. I mean, that should be available to more people in more types of occupations, but in this country, the military is one of the only places you can get those kind of benefits and where you're guaranteed the right to those benefits. So,
And
so people join because of that.
and when you use the word guarantee, I'm gonna push back in a gentle exercise because it's unfortunate. Now, as a daughter of a veteran, my father's laying in Abraham Lincoln Cemetery, and I thank God for it. Pristine. Shout out to the services over there. I appreciate how we show and pay respect to our veterans as they lay and rest. I want to push back with a gentle exercise with you because you said guaranteed. I read reports extensively of those that are in Iran and they're hungry. And I'm not talking about the Iranis, I'm talking about American soldiers that are hungry. Help me understand, especially as the Trump administration is about begging for more billions of dollars. How is it in 2026 I have soldiers that are supposed to be at the ready that are starving?
That's a great point. When I mentioned that you're guaranteed this high quality life in the military, that's what the recruiters say to get you to join. That's definitely not a guarantee, but it very much.
No, and I just wanted to poke at you, not personally, but I wanted to use this as a moment to raise up a grave concern as a food justice warrior. How are we the richest country in the nation that aren't even feeding their troops? How is that possible?
All that money goes to the defense industry for all the missiles and stuff that they're dropping over there. Look, I mean, a big part of that is that's just a big real part of the Trump administration. They were so arrogant that this was just going to be such an easy war. It was going to take like a week or two, and there weren't going to be any challenges. It was just their people that really led us where they weren't prepared. They were not prepared for the fact that there was going to be real resistance from the Iranian military. It's the same thing that happened in Afghanistan, the same thing that happened in Iraq, the same thing that happened in Vietnam. The same thing that they thought these were going to be kind of easy in, easy out conflict. And so again, we pay the price for that. We pay the price for their ignorance and their arrogance.
More than 150 vast majority veterans took to the Capitol to say no. No to the war in Iran. Who's on the live line is Mike Prysner. He served in our United States Army, and he is the executive director of the organizing entity that coalesced these groups. And we're talking about the Center for Consciousness of War. When we talk about this on the other side of this break, we're in a war that Trump started. How do we get out of it? I would love your answer on the other side of this break.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago. WVON, 63 years ago, and we're celebrating all the glory.
And either one of you
Lots of places do explosions like that.
and those are the one on the rise plus ALC. And those are the actual weapons that are that's what it is. But I think it's interesting what you said. I mean, I don't like I think you may not ever answer. I mean, she helped us build the coalition necessary to hold so on side. Oh, very. If you want to bring balance to society, like we have to bring balance to this balance. And it's almost like taboo or what have you, but and I do this in, you know, I do this in like my decisions.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690.
First of all, you love it, Monty. And we are back. The time is 10:52. You're listening to the Cleopatra Show. Mike Prysner is on the live line with us, serving as Executive Director for the Center of Consciousness and War. And yesterday there was an action that occurred with about 150 members, more than half are veterans from across the various areas of where you can serve, whether it was the Army, the Navy, the Marine, and the Corps. And ultimately, on the Capitol, they did a thing that caught my attention, and I wanted to bring it to our listening audience because it matters. They're raising concerns about the unconstitutional, unsanctioned war being led by President Donald John Trump. And their call of action is no war on Iran, especially for those that have fought for the past 25 to 30 years in the various wars beforehand. Before we went to the break, I asked you, Mike, you know, for the past 5 months, and this is where Trump has landed us, how do we get out?
Well, I think more broadly, among the American public, we know this war is unpopular. Trump is not going to end this war without being forced to end it. And one of those things that can play a big part in forcing him to end it is resistance from the American people. And so, however we choose to do that, I mean, there needs to be more fight back by Americans to force them to stop this. Because, left to their own devices, they'll keep doing the crazy things. They'll keep going deeper and deeper into disaster, which again, we feel they don't feel. But when it comes to service members, anyone listening who has a loved one in the military or who may be in the military themselves, reserve, the guard, or in the active duty, there are rights available to you to refuse to take part. I'm not going to lie, it's hard for me to say the name of my organization sometimes, but at the Center on Conscience and War, we help service members.
Oh, not consciousness. Okay, conscious.
Yeah,
Center on Consciousness. Okay.
So we help service members file as conscientious objectors, which is a right available to anyone serving in the military that gets an honorable discharge. That if you are opposed to participating in war, if you went through a change after you joined and you're saying that I'm not going to take part in killing people for no good reason, there are rights available to you, and there are free professional services that will help you do that. So since the Iran war started, we've received hundreds of phone calls from active duty military who opposed the war. Over 100 of them have taken steps to file a conscientious objector. Some of them were about to deploy to the Middle East, who were able to get them off of that deployment. And so I think it's important for people to know that one of the ways we can stop this war is by building a resistance within the military itself. And that's one of the messages that we're, the veterans that have gotten out, are trying to tell people who are still in. There are rights available to you that you can exercise, and there are people that can help you exercise. So if you know anyone in the military, our website is centeronconscience.org. There's a phone number, email, ways to contact us, and we can help you. You don't have to go, you don't have to die, you don't have to kill in this ridiculous war. And the more people that take that stand, that helps put the pressure on Trump to end it.
I do appreciate that. that pivot, because I am talking to a number of young men that are saying, I'm just gonna leave the country. What's your take on that?
There's a lot of ways out of the military, or there's a few really good options to get out of the military if you're feeling that way. The important thing is, I mean, I can speak from experience. I certainly I was there for 12 months. It was a similar type of situation where there was clearly lies being told to us, and I didn't know that I had options. And I deeply regret not knowing and not exploring and not finding ways to not participate in that, because my generation and those that came after going to Iraq, we were wronged by our government in very profound and deep ways, and the people that we were sent to fight were wronged by our government in very deep and profound ways. Nobody has to be forced to go do that again. And so anyone in the military now, you don't have to be forced to go to die for Trump's buffoonery or to kill other people we have to forcibly kill because of this.
And to be clear, he's talking about America. Iran is a whole nother can of worms, but you declare where we're at and our government to be extreme at this point, correct?
Absolutely. And I mean, this is just my opinion, but my opinion that these are racist people in the chain of command. I mean, these types has unleashed, unprecedented attacks on black service members in particular. I mean, so while women, while Latinos, while black service members are being told to go kill and die in this war, they are also being waged against them from their own chain of command. And so I think, we have a lot more in common with the Iranian people who are under the bonds of the U.S. military than with our commanders in the first place.
I appreciate you saying the quiet parts out loud. There are a number of Black Americans that need to hear that, particularly from somebody that's not a talking head on the television. So again, Mike Prysner, I thank you for joining us, the Executive Director for the Center on Conscience and More. See, I got it this time. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by the show. Listen, guys, were you moved by that? I truly am. And I appreciate the veterans that took to Capitol Hill and made the sacrifice to say the quiet parts out loud. That is something, especially under a commander-in-chief that has never served one day in the armed forces. I want us to think about that. He is treating them as though they're at his disposal. And admittedly, knowing that it is an unsanctioned and unconstitutional war, we've lost 13 lives thus far, and we've squandered billions. Meanwhile, back on the ranch, there are millions of Americans that will be without health care, supplemental nutritional assistance programming, education, housing, employment. And this is how we're squandering. And this is what's going to make America great. I want us to think about that, especially as I prepare for our next segment. We're going to have Reverend Cozy Bailey join us. She's the president of the Virginia NAACP. Broom swept from our real estate folk that know something about it. Broom swept, absolutely clean. That is what happened in Virginia, and there's a tidal wave of blue. And as this tidal wave of blue comes to a city near you, buckle up, Buttercup. We'll be back after this break.
Partly cloudy and 66 degrees on this Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. I'm Never Rolling in the headlines. Correction, Ravinia tickets are set to go on sale tomorrow, Thursday at 8 a.m. with more than 100 concerts scheduled for this summer, including Chicago Chance the Rapper and legendary singer Prysner. Illinois lawmakers are hoping to take the lead over Indiana in the battle of the Chicago Bears Stadium. The Chicago City Council has officially confirmed Ken Barrett as Commissioner of the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. And today's headlines are powered by Forensic Med, bringing the young people in their lives 6 to 16 years old to the Chicago Read-In, 11 a.m. till 2 this Saturday, April 25th at the Harold Washington Cultural Center, 37th Drive. It's about culture, it's about literacy, it's storytelling, and it's free. National news from the Black Information Network is next on Chicago's original social media platform. 1690 AM, WBON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's 11 o'clock.
I love that she said that. She's like,
is real. All of these guys are tough folks that may not ever have campaigns.
Deportations of Haitian immigrants. 6
The reason
Republicans
why I
joined
said
Democrats to
the
restore temporary protections. Representative Marie Woodson migrated from Haiti to South Florida and supports the move, also wanting the travel ban lifted.
women
Travel ban does not simply
in
impose
those
barriers, it
control 70%
It now heads to the
of
Senate for final
men, right?
By former Dalton, Illinois Mayor Tiffany Henyard is now on the ballot in
That's
Georgia,
like they
running for
can
Fulton
talk
County
about
Commission
this.
as a Republican after admitting she collected Illinois taxpayer money
but
while living in Atlanta.
women
She made nearly
still are
$20,000.
30% of Congress.
Simmons is headed for
Like,
the divorce.
in terms of structural power, the idea that we're like
has filed in their nearly 12-year
running
marriage
the board isn't true. He said, she's like, it is so rare sometimes that we get a shot, that we get put in this seat. So when if we want to bring balance to society, like we have to bring balance to this and it's almost like taboo or what have you, but and I
Committee was to determine a sanctioned recommendations for the Democratic who allegedly received $5 million.
I'm sitting with you here today for a reason.
And personal expenses. Tripolis reported made
First of all, you have a
trial on the charges
You gave it to me yesterday.
This is GOP Representative
I
Brian
am
Bills is refusing to step down even though he's facing allegations of misconduct.
Yeah.
He maintains that he is cooperating with investigators
love
regarding
Like,
accusations.
that's the kind of energy I
House Speaker Mike Johnson is expressing support.
That's the kind of world I
CNN
want to live in.
Bills should be afforded
Like,
due process.
all right, let's go.
Several
Let's
top
do it.
administration cabinet members are appearing
So,
before Congress.
I asked all of them.
Sometimes I do, I'm trying to listen to what sits as a
And what I'm bringing up is the
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appearing before the House Ways and Means Committee in a hearing last week, examining the budget priorities of the Department of Health and Human Services, and he's back on Capitol Hill today along with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent,
I don't really think about
Secretary
waiting
Heather
on
Lutnick,
someone's
and
fall.
Energy
I think
Secretary
about
Alice Ryan,
you can't just
appearing before Senate committees to
focus on
examine
rubber
budget estimates and
I think
justification
those
for
two
the Trump's 20% budget request. Discussed.
wait
Tiffany Henyard is
for
leading
the
the committee.
opposition
She acknowledged
to
during a recent election hearing in Fulton County, Georgia, that she's been living in the beach state while serving as mayor of Fulton. Controversies
But we
continue
gotta
to
aim
rage
together.
and
We
she's
can't
been dubbed America's worst mayor. Henyard led the Chicago suburb from 2021 through 2025 and made the admission by defending her eligibility to run for
Citizens
seat
provide
on
us.
the Fulton County Board of
We have to
Regents.
like really
Wants to
stretch
determine whether she met the position's
Active
residency requirements after questions came up about when she relocated.
Oh, there it is,
Henyard said
insurance
she
from
was
AOC. We're gonna wrap up the show, but I think we're going to stop about the
the Georgia County Commissioner candidates must establish residency in the county at least a year before the election. The new Black Wall Street market is closing at the end of the month after barely 5 years in operation, located in the Georgia city of Stonecrest. The new Black Wall Street market is a consortium of Black-owned shops. The vendors include artists, designers, and restaurateurs, using Tulsa's legendary Black Wall Street as the template. General Manager Olivia Flower says overall business, operation, facility, and financial issues are all factors in the closing. Stay informed, stay connected, and subscribe. Follow PIN is the sound of ever. Your cable podcast is held by Terry Cooper with Black Information Network.
Hi, I'm Lori Smith, host of Meeting the Movement, WVON, in partnership with the Chicago Community Trust, developed Meeting the Movement to amplify the voices of nonprofits across Chicagoland, giving them the communication tools they need to expand their reach and turn awareness into action. Right now, our communities are facing real challenges, from economic uncertainty to public safety to access and equity. But in the middle of it all, there are organizations doing their work quietly, faithfully, powerfully. With Meeting the Moment, we'll have honest conversations about the issues shaping our region and, more importantly, the solutions happening on the ground. And each week, we'll feature a Chicagoland nonprofit making a difference. You'll hear their story and find out how you can support their work. Because Meeting the Moment is about more than just awareness, it's about impact. Join the Meeting the Moment movement, a program designed for the doers. For more information, visit WVON.com/meeting
Saturday at 12 noon, right here on WVON 1690, the talk of Chicago. Let's meet the moment together, powered by the Chicago Community Trust.
Tuned in to your favorite WBON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch. Like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
The Chicago Urban League is holding its first ever West Side Health and Wellness Fair. It's called Thrive, and it's focused on helping West Side families achieve their best health with a range of free resources right in the community. Engage with vendors, get free health screenings for the entire family, healthy cooking demonstrations, nutrition tips, mini massages, line dancing, discussion on chronic diseases, mental health and dementia, learn about financial wellness resources, and there will be activities for the kids. Enjoy free refreshments and a chance to win free prizes. West Side Thrive is Saturday, May 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Chicago Jesuit Academy, 5058 West Jackson Boulevard, and it's free and open to the public. That's Saturday, May 2nd, 10 a.m. at 5058 West Jackson Boulevard in Chicago. Chicago Urban League Thrive partners Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Beta Delta Omega Chapter, and Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Rho Zeta Lambda Chapter. Register for Thrive at chiul.org. That's chiul.org.
I was having a medical procedure, and I wanted to ensure my kids would get home should something happen to me. I called Attorney Ted Bundy. He provided the land trust and all this. Now my kids and I have to go through the probate process.
After the death of my husband, I had to get my affairs in order. I called Attorney Ted London. Now my family at home will not have to go through the probate process.
773-721-3333. This report is brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment. It's car care month, and Summit Racing has what you need for comprehensive care. Provides the interior, exterior, under the hood, and more. Shop at summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off and offer $100.
love that she said.
Offer
She's
ends
like-
May 3rd, 2026.
Chicago Blues Festival is more than a festival. It's a celebration of culture, rhythm, and legacy. We'll see you in Millennium Park June 4th through the 7th. We're WVOE.
Live from the Xfinity Studios at WVON, it's the Cleopatra Show on Chicago's essential storyteller, 1690 WVON.
You know, there is proper balance to society. Whether
You can't say in the comment. What? I don't have anything about this one. You don't have nothing about that? No? No, this is president of the NAACP. And we are back. The time is 11:09. And listen, guys, broom swept. That's right. That's what took place in Virginia last night. All things Virginia will be discussed. And of course, I have the president, Presidente, Madam President, Reverend Cozy Bailey of the NAACP on the live line with me. Welcome to the Cleopatra Show.
Thank you, Cleopatra.
Absolutely. So listen, when it came to Virginia, what did you expect? Did you expect what you expected?
I like the way you put that, Cleopatra. What occurred here was a clarion call for the NAACP and our allies to go into action. We looked at this as an opportunity to be a wall, if you will, to ensure that our voting rights that the NAACP has been fighting for since 1990 to 1909 would not be further deteriorated.
Absolutely. The foolishness I just saw flash across the screen, and in the studio we have this 24/7 news coverage nationally. And right now, in real time, the attack, and I have to get your opinion on this, the attack on the indictment that is rolling out allegedly against the Southern Poverty Law Center. What's your take on that?
Actually, Cleopatra, I haven't seen that yet. I haven't been watching the news and working on that.
See, and this is what I mean. The constant just hammering. Like, so in real time, I just saw a glimmer of that. So just to let you, to be brutally fair, because right now they done pivoted back to Virginia, what we were originally talking about. But as this alleged indictment is rolling out, I had to ask you, but this is what I mean by, again, if we could raise the bar and raise the tides for Americans to be prosperous at this light speed, wouldn't that be amazing?
Absolutely amazing. And again, you know, as we talk about what happened in Virginia last night, it was a incredible effort. You know, you alluded to the fact that oftentimes these days we wake up every morning to something new that is chaotic. This shift to try to bolster a attempted dictator has been going on for months. And then when the assault on black voters in particular in Virginia began with a disinformation campaign, which misquoted Illinois' own former President Barack Obama, the NAACP swung into action, utilizing our trusted voice, utilizing the energy of our youth and college students, holding town halls and Zoom webinars and mailings and radio PSAs. And what resulted was one of the largest black voter turnouts in the history of Virginia, rivaling the turnout that we have for presidential elections.
And that's tremendous. Now that says a lot. What does that say to you?
It says to me, first of all, that one of our slogans, you know, when we fight, we win. When we get behind an action, in this case, an existential threat to our voting rights, as we have been observing the deterioration of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, that the NAACP is both resilient and filled with a resolve to ensure that we will lift up and fight for the political, economic, social, and education rights of black people. And when we do that, we win.
And talk about the wins from last night, because it was a couple of. Talk about it.
Well, it was a razor thin margin, approximately 51% to 49%. And when we examine the numbers there, we know that the black population of Virginia were the ones who pushed us over the top. In areas where there are high concentrations of African American voters, in our Hampton Roads area, in the Richmond area, in the suburbs, in Northern Virginia, we turned out again in record numbers. We were able to utilize our alliances with D9 organizations, the black fraternities and sororities, faith organizations, specifically the black churches, which have always been the bedrock of how the NAACP operates, and then aligning ourselves with other community service organizations. By pulling together on this single issue of being able to ensure that we have fair elections in Virginia, we made strides that will help out the nation. What happened in Virginia last night was just not for the Commonwealth of Virginia. We made strides that will affect and positively affect our nation as we approach these midterm elections and beyond that.
You know, I have to highlight your understanding of the results. You said it was razor thin from Chicago overlooking to Virginia. I saw the W. A win is a win. And when I saw that flag go up, I said, whoop, well, there it is. Now, when we talk about President Obama and the support he yielded for the Just Say Yes, support for redrawing the boundaries. I want to raise that up because I heard, and I can't say it without laughing, but I heard your President Donald John Trump say, "Hey, now they cheat." And when I thought about it, I just thought about who initiated this, and who launched this was the Grand Old Party, and now we're running with the ball you don't like when we dunk the ball. I would like to talk about what that look like. What does that look like for Virginians moving forward, and how that will potentially change the trajectory of power, balance of power in your state.
Yeah, let me preface with the NACP is a nonpartisan organization, okay? But to quote our current chairman of the board, we are political as hell. We understand how to use political might and how to use political power. You absolutely are spot on in that those who were in opposition of this move actually mischaracterized statements done by President Obama. President Obama weighed in heavily based upon the current situation. The current situation, in fact, is an edict, a plea from the current occupant of the White House to change things in his favor. Apparently, he and his supporters thought that he could just do that and he wouldn't have any opposition whatsoever. We proved him wrong. He expected that we would sit back and take it, taking moral positions and not recognizing that we were, as I said before, in a gunfight. And so you don't bring knives to a gunfight. We brought off all of our ammunition and we rolled hard, and again, we won.
I mean, and it was impressive. I was from a data wonk, up at night crunching, looking at the counties. I was really thoroughly impressed. And when we return, I would like to talk about the money that was spent. It is always big money in this game that we're playing, particularly in the game of life. Being Black while surviving America. And I am discussing this with Reverend Cozy Bailey, who serves as the president of the Virginia chapter of the NAACP. We'll be back.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Smart conversations with smart people makes us smart. And that's exactly what you get on Bound for This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become deeper, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. Colin Wood, Nation Park, Lori David Marshall, breaking down the history and protests of America, Gary Tyler, sharing the story of resilience, redemption, and extension. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter. Because every book has a story, and every story has a people. Bound and Loaded, Rufus Williams, on the Line TV. Catch us
I'm willing to join her. Please let
Fire,
her audience
Apple
know.
TV Plus,
Because I do
the
believe
WVON
that
app,
I
and
believe the housing somehow. I believe in making the
Chamber
mentally
composer Mike Reed and the Powerhouse Ensemble of fellow Chicago improvisers explore the legacy of Chicago avant-garde jazz bassist Fred Hopkins on Friday, May 1st at Symphony Center. Before the concert, gather with members of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra African American Network in Granger Ballroom to celebrate Chicago's jazz scene. More at cso.org/AAN. That's cso.org/AAN.
If we want to bring balance to society, like we have to bring balance to this balance. And it's almost like taboo or what have you, but and I do this in, I do this in
Accounts, they'll alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that can make all the difference. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. LifeLock.com, 800-LifeLock, 1-800-LifeLock, or LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK at LifeLock.com.
Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik. You've seen him on cable TV. Now hear his spirited conversation on the Talk of Chicago. The question at hand is raising voices of the Negro. That plain and simple. Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. WVON traffic and weather now.
No changes in your travel times, but new this break, we are monitoring what's happening on the outbound side of the Eisenhower 17th Avenue. Apparently, there is an accident. It happened slightly earlier involving possible injuries. We are looking at some delays backed up to Laramie. Taking a look at our weather, mostly cloudy skies at this time. The National Weather Service did promise some sunshine later today, with temperatures hovering in the 60s. We're at 62 at Midway. It's 62 in the South Loop and 62 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Minette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And we are back. The time is 11:21, and you're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And listen, guys, I want you to mark your calendar. That's right. This one is for the culture. Join us Saturday, April 25th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Harold Washington Cultural Center for the Great Chicago Read-In, a powerful celebration of literacy, creativity, and family. Hosted by me, your favorite millennial. I'll be on the stage with some incredible performances from the Hip Lay Ballerinas. They hung out with us last week. Fernando Jones, who stopped by the show yesterday, and Mad Rhythms Tap Academy, and more. This is where stories come alive, sparking imagination for all ages, and it's free. But you must register to attend. Get your tickets now at eventbrite.com and bring the entire family. Getting back to business at hand, there was broom swept activity that morphed across the state of Virginia. Amen. On the line is Reverend Cozy Bailey. He serves as the president of the Virginia chapter of the NAACP, and he's hanging out with me. Now, like I said, when I saw the video of, it could have been the boy that cried wolf, but it was Donald John Trump claiming that they cheating. And what am I talking about? Redistricting, right? Reevaluating the way the boundaries are set and the vote that transformed. And folks are looking at Virginia, Reverend, for a few reasons, because it may be the forecast to the future. What do you say to that?
I say that Virginia has repeatedly been the bellwether and forecaster of the future. When political power shifts take place, all you have to do is take a look at history, and you'll see that many times they begin in Virginia. You asked that question about a shift in power. I would say that there are two things that have occurred here. One, a signal has been sent up that if you start a fight, expect to have some opposition and people to fight back. But from our viewpoint, and probably even more importantly, when the NAACP gets involved and we mobilize the impressive force of Black voters in this Commonwealth and in this country, we can and will make a difference every time. And so people will now look at this and say, hey, whatever it is that comes up in the future, if we continue to unite and use our voting, political, and economic power, we can and will make a difference.
I think that that's important, particularly for those that are turning up and showing out. What would you say to motivate folk to activate that either are looking at the political landscape and saying, you know what, this is the same plane with different wings. I've heard the same bird with different feathers, all of that stuff. But yet and still, the suffrage is not the same. It's levels to it.
I would say that sitting on the sidelines is not an option. A democracy is a participatory sport, if you will. We are not allowed to sit back. If we sit back and do nothing, then we will be forced to accept whatever it is that we get. But if we get in there and make our voices heard, we may not win every battle, but certainly we will make a difference over the long haul. I would say to those who look at things that way, to get with your local branch of the NAACP. They're in Chicago and across this nation. And I would say shamelessly that we will be convening nationally in Chicago in July of this year. Come to those sessions. There are public forums. You can join the NAACP then and understand how to help to maintain and to advance the rights of Black people in this country.
Coming to Chicago, eh? When are you coming?
We're coming from the 18th to the 22nd.
1 month.
Of July.
Of July, 18th through the 22nd. And that is a wonderful opportunity. And how can we learn more? Give us your website.
The national website is www.naacp.org.
And what do you hope to accomplish while you're here in the city? You're organizing with chapters from all across the country, I would imagine. What do you hope to accomplish?
Well, first of all, we will come together and have fellowship and trade war stories, if you will. Secondly, we will plot out our agenda for the upcoming next 2 years. And we do that through a process called development of resolutions. And that's how the NAACP develops its policies, reinforces policies that have been in effect, and continue to move forward, again, with the creed that we will fight for the political, economic, social, and economic rights for Black people.
I really appreciate the work that you're doing. It's such a historical nostalgia associated with the NAACP. Let me ask you, what was the gravitational pull that got you in the building to do the work that you're doing now?
Short story is that I at a young age, discovered that my mother was an advocate. I grew up in the public school systems of St. Louis, Missouri, just about 300 miles south of your location. And there came a time when my mother realized that I was not being rewarded with the grades and academic achievement that I had earned. Through her efforts, over a 2-year period, I was moved from being called a slow learner to being one of the first African Americans to be chosen for the Gifted and Talented program in St. Louis Public Schools. My mother was an advocate, and she planted that in me by those actions that she did.
Well, the seed is strong, and that is why we have to continue to do the work. I appreciate all you're doing. Big ups to Virginia. What a big win. Let me ask you this from a predictive standpoint, because I know you're nonpartisan. But if you were to have a crystal ball today, what would you say will be the outcome in November?
I believe the outcome in November across this country will be a return to a majority in our U.S. Congress of people who are like-minded with the precepts of the NAACP. That's my prediction.
And of that, what would you want differently to have the protections of people of color in this country, especially given all of the assaults? What would you tighten, solder, let marinate? What would you demand? What would be different than our approach than how we showed up before there was the Trump 2.0?
Well, the first thing is that they need to get together and lift up a bill that has been just sitting idly by, that is named after one of the stalwarts of social justice advocacy, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, to restore the precepts of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and then move beyond that. If they would do that, it would be an incredible win. And we would then need to continue to recognize the needs of all people within this country and not the needs of a few.
Well, I thank you so much, Reverend, for all you're doing. This is Reverend Cozy Bailey, serving as president of the Virginia chapter of the NAACP. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cleopatra. You have a wonderful day.
Absolutely. We love when talent stop by the Cleopatra Show. Listen, guys, when we return, we're going to keep the gravy train rolling. I got to tell y'all where you need to be, because it's a WVON night coming. And more importantly, I have a special guest underway. Now, she's a professor of international business at Florida International University, and her studies are institutions' effect on business and supply chains. There's something happening, and I am looking at the Strait of Hormuz. We'll be back.
Partly cloudy and 62. I'm in Illinois, and here's what's happening. Voters in Virginia have approved a redistricting referendum that would let Democrats redraw the state's congressional maps, giving Democrats a 10-1 advantage in the upcoming midterms.
The Reverend Cozy Bailey, president of the Prince William, Virginia chapter of the NAACP, spoke exclusively with WVON's Cleopatra Draper this hour. He says they will be in Chicago July 18th through the 22nd to continue the successful fight for political, social, and voting rights of the people. Well, following the results of Tuesday's vote, former Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin urged the Virginia Supreme Court to step in and rule against what he called an unconstitutional process that will disenfranchise millions of Virginians. Well, Illinois lawmakers are hoping to take the lead over Indiana in the battle of a new Chicago Bears stadium. There is a major vote that could happen in Springfield today. Lawmakers have been working on a so-called mega project bill, a bill that would provide property tax incentives to build a new stadium in Arlington Heights. Meanwhile, the Bears are still eyeballing more than 300 acres of property in northwest Indiana. Former Chicago Mayor Richard Daley is home from the hospital after having a stroke. Perry Williams has more.
The ex-mayor was reportedly hospitalized earlier this month, but was released after a few days. His brother, Bill Daley, told the Sun-Times that it was the third stroke, but this one was minor compared to one his sibling had in 2014. He added that the ex-mayor is home and is doing some rehab. Daley, who is 84, is the longest-serving mayor in Chicago history. I'm Perry Williams.
Ravinia tickets go on sale 8 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, for the 2026 season. Now, the lineup includes no other than Chicago's own Chance the Rapper, along with legendary singer Gladys Knight, Kool and the Gang, Snoop Dogg, and Rod Stewart, and a lot more. This year, they are debuting their new refurbished pavilion, now called the Hunter Pavilion, in honor of donors Maxine M. and Thomas B. Hunter III. Ticket information and dates of performances can be found on the ravinia.org website. And Six Flags pre-K passes are back. Children 3 to 5 years old can get free unlimited admission for the entire season. You have to register by May 31st on the Six Flags website and be a season pass holder. And you don't want to miss WVON Night at the Jackie Wilson Story. This Friday, April 24th at the Black Ensemble Theater, 4450 North Clark Street. This outstanding history-making production delivers a soulful tribute to Mr. Excitement. Well, that's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. Traffic and weather up next. WVON News Time, 11:33.
WVON turns 63 years young in April, and we're celebrating all month long.
Well, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. Ooh,
Join us for WVON Night at the Black Ensemble Theater on Friday, April 24th, for the return of the award-winning play, The Jackie Wilson Story. This electrifying production will have you singing and dancing in the aisles as the Black Ensemble brings this musical legend to life. His voice, his moves, his music. It changed everything, from Jackie Wilson's Lonely Teardrops to Higher and Higher. It's more than a musical. It's a theatrical experience. Join WVON's afternoon personalities, Atiba Buchanan, and me, LaDonna Ray, as we host WVON Night at the Black Ensemble Theater, 4450 North Clark, Friday, April 24th.
Get your tickets now at blackensembletheater.org or click the Black Ensemble banner at WVON.com.
WVON is 63 and still having fun.
I've tried everything to stand out at work. Donuts, a company coffee blend, even dressed as the company mascot for Halloween.
There's an easier way, a ComEd facility assessment. Their engineer gave my company free insights and actions that saved us $732,000 on energy. Easy, right?
Learn how ComEd can help you save at ComEd.com/facility assessment. ComEd, powering lives. Savings will vary based on customers' use and rate.
This is Rufus Williams, and I've got a major announcement coming Monday, April 27th. I'll give you a hint. Maybe not. Okay, if you insist. Got luggage? We're WVON. It's
the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
I saw a meme that said America will come and get you when it's about the oil. They bombed in Iran, they've got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they've got oil. They bombed in Libya, they've got oil. And now they bombed in Venezuela, they've got oil. And they even came after Diddy because he had oil.
Come on, Congressman. What a great setup. That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m. Host and owners of Top and Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance. And they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top and Top Insurance Agency.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's. Spring into deals at Lowe's. Shop Stagreen Premium 2 cubic feet mulch, 5 bags for $10. Plus, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Valid through May 6th. Mulch offers excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
WVON traffic and weather now.
Still no changes in your travel times, but new this break. We are looking at an accident right now on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, northbound at Belmont. Right now, the tow truck is towing that situation away. Also, on the Ryan, outbound at Pershing, there is a disabled blocking the left shoulder. Taking a look at your weather, we're seeing some partly cloudy skies. The National Weather Service promises sunshine for much of today. Temperature steady throughout the 60s. Tonight, leveling off at around 51. It's now 62 at O'Hare, 62 in Dalton, and 62 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm Annette Flournoy on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
You walked in, I woke up. I've never seen a pretty girl look so tough, baby.
And we are back. The time is 11:38, and you're listening to the Cleopatra Show. And, of course, it's still Fired Up Wednesday. And this message is throughout the Chicagoland area. We know that it's filled with friends, fun, and traffic. Skip the stress of gridlock and hop on board Metro to get to where you're going quickly, comfortably, and more importantly, safely. Metro's 95% on-time rate means you'll never be late for moments that matter, and their low fares mean you don't have to break the bank. Plus, with the new regional day pass, you can enjoy unlimited rides on Metro, CTA, and Pace for only $2.50 with the purchase of a Metro day pass. Purchasing tickets is easy. The Venture app, and you can bring the entire family because children under the age of 11 ride free. Now you can skip traffic, get to where you're going fast, and save more. So stop sitting in never-ending gridlock and paying for expensive parking. Take Metro so you can drive less and do more. Now getting back to the business, the Strait of Hormuz. As a food justice warrior, what does that mean? In layman terms, I've abandoned the term food desert. Nothing grows in the desert. I adopted that language from a sister that is a part of work that I believe in, ensuring that folk don't go hungry. But we might, when it comes to the foolishness at the Strait of Hormuz, ships being fired upon, and yet and still, that vessel carries important cargo that can have a global impact to access to food that is a necessity for life across the globe. Did you know that? You're going to learn today. So closing it, opening it, closing it, opening it is threatening the global food supply chain that could soon drive up grocery prices worldwide. While most attention is focused on the oil, the strait is also in critical route for fertilizer. an essential input for growing crops. Roughly a third of the world's traded fertilizer passes through the narrow Strait of Hormuz waterway, meaning disruptions have immediate consequences for agriculture. Who's on the live line? She's a professor, Aya Chacara. She's a professor of international business at Florida International University, and she studies how institutions affect businesses and supply chains. So we have an expert. Thank you so much, Professor Chacara, for joining us on the Cleopatra Show.
Thank you. Good morning, Chicago, and good morning to you.
Likewise. So let's get down to the business, because business isn't good if we continue to open and close the Strait of Hormuz. How is that working out for the global supply chain in its current state?
Oh my gosh. Imagine your supermarket opening whenever it wants and closing whenever it wants. It would be quite a disaster, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And the fact that how much more can we extend or expend upon groceries? I'm already devastated.
Well, I don't have good news, unfortunately, for you today. The only news that might be useful is you need to prepare, because both the oil problem and the fertilizer problem in the Strait of Hormuz and throughout the world is really going to affect the food prices. The oil price, as you know, is going to raise anything to do with transportation. So moving things from, whether it's food or the cans we put food in or the plastic we put in, that the price is going to rise. It's also going to affect the price of running all the machines in the farm. But today we wanted to focus on fertilizers, and obviously fertilizers are essential for more than 50% of the food that we grow. And fertilizers are very much disrupted because many come from the region where there's Hormuz or pass through Hormuz. So either way, we have a problem.
I agree. I mean, when you think about the technicalities, so you're talking about the cost of aluminum, labor, actual fertilizer, the export of it. This is a ripple effect that I can't imagine wasn't a part of the calculus, but yet again I can, because we got here in an unconstitutional, unsanctioned war, and the potential for those that are already starving because we upended USAID, and those that thought that we could afford groceries have to prepare for more pain and pinch is devastating to hear.
You are, again, you're very right again. And unfortunately, this doesn't get enough attention in this country because the impact here and elsewhere is very asymmetrical. The poor, the many people who can barely make ends meet are going to be much more affected. For the rich, food is like 90% of their expenses, and they have plenty of money, so that will not be a problem. So, but even in the U.S., which is technically, richer than if you think of South Africa or Zimbabwe, this is going to make a big difference to the grocery bill. In some countries, that's going to mean the difference between being able to feed your family and not being able to feed your family, and that's why it is a really important issue to raise. Even more so when we think that today we have more than 318 million people, imagine that number, 318 million people who are in a critical food situation, who can barely feed themselves or are already in famine. So as the food prices go up, many more of these could move into famine mode, and many more could move into having a critical food situation.
And you said something, and I want you to expound upon it. You particularly looked at this country because clearly there are other countries that get it. What about this country in this moment, in this time, in this era, in this year, that is the disconnect from reality, juxtaposed to propaganda that is being sold at the highest office of the land here?
I mean, I think in a good way, policies are meant to facilitate free trade, free markets, and less government. And in theory, that's good. But also, at the end of the day, even for businesses to run, people have to afford their food, because if people can't pay for their food and can't eat, they're not going to buy, an additional pair of shoes. They're not going to buy a purse. So those basic necessities are not just essential to provide and make sure they're provided in a Christian country, or at least that's what we say we are, or with Christian values, but even more important because businesses depend on the financial health of the little people.
Hey, for those of us that are trying to decide, do I buy these shoes today or these groceries today? The professor is filling you. When we return, I have a couple more questions to ask you when it comes to farming systems, and the delicacies of what we can and can't do when it comes to AI and why this is so vital. Because ultimately, if you can't travel through the Strait of Hormuz, why not put it in the air? Why not go around? I want you to talk geography and agriculture when we return. Thank you.
More from Cleopatra coming up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
South Chicago isn't just a neighborhood, it's a community full of promise. That's why Fifth Third Bank is investing in its future through our neighborhood program. We're working alongside local leaders, small businesses, and residents to create jobs, expand home ownership, and build inclusive infrastructure. Because when South Chicago thrives, we all thrive. This is Banking a Fifth Third Better. Learn more about our community investments at 53.com. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Before Hot Winds. Ooh, let's heat things up. Get fired up with Hot Winds, a new game from the Illinois Lottery. Learn how to play at illinoislottery.com. Be smart, play smart. Must be 18 or older to play. Game odds available at illinoislottery.com.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there. WVON.
April is STI Awareness Month, and the Chicago Department of Public Health reminds you taking care of your sexual health is important at all stages and ages of life. Making your sexual health a priority is vital to your overall health plan. Even if you're not sexually active, it's still important to check in on your body. If you are sexually active, no matter if you're 17 or 70, getting tested regularly for STIs is one of the best ways to protect yourself and your partners. In Chicago, nearly half of all new STI cases are among young people under the age of 25, and LGBTQ plus communities continue to be disproportionately impacted by HIV. Testing and prevention equal knowledge and power. CDPH's sexual health clinics in Roseland, Lakeview, and Austin offer free, confidential STI and HIV testing and treatment, as well as free condoms and over-the-counter pregnancy tests. Visit chicago.gov/sexual health for more information.
Have you checked out WVON's digital streaming network, Bond TV? It's everywhere on Roku, Apple TV Plus, Amazon Fire, on the WVON app, and at VON.TV. Bond TV, it's cultural content on purpose.
Beauty is more than style, it's a story, and now you get to hear it straight from the source. Solo Beauty Supply presents the Hair Tour radio show, coming to WVON Saturdays beginning May 2nd at 2 p.m. From Chicago to the West Coast top salon owners, pull back the curtain on the business, the culture, and the grind behind the chair. From building brands to shaping communities, this is where beauty meets boss moves. Tune in, tap in, and take notes. The Hair Tour radio show, Saturdays beginning May 2nd at 2 p.m. only on WVON.
And now back to the Cleopatra Show on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Shake it up, shake it down, move it in, move it out.
And we are back. The time is 11:50, and who's hanging out with me is the professor. That's right. She is talking to us about the threat of a global food supply chain that may have a drastic increase in price hikes at the grocery store. Professor Aya Chacar is talking to us from her lens of expertise in international business. She's a professor at the Florida International University, and I'm just talking geography at this point. We're looking through the lens of the Strait of Hormuz and how um, a significant portion of fertilizer moves through that vessel to stimulate our agriculture, not just from here, but around the globe. But yet and still, why not put it in the air? Why does it have to go through the strait? Talk to us about where it derives from.
Well, I think that the short answer is probably not enough plane and not enough oil, that's sure, to go through the air. To give you an idea, there's now a shortage of fuel for planes throughout the globe because of the crisis. So, I mean, Europe is talking about sharing their jet fuel to basically ration it. So, but even in the good times, when you have plenty of oil, if we were to use planes, it would get very, very expensive. But your question is still, I mean, it's great. Why? Because it's asking, are there alternatives to Hormuz? No?
Correct.
So the air, many people want to go through the air, and this is, our first thinking, but that's mechanically and cost prohibitive. So then what's the next step?
And, as I watched this play out in the administration with Trump and JD Vance, from your level of expertise, do you think that there was a calculus at all in terms of the global supply chain before he decided to create this war?
Okay, my short answer is there's probably a bit of American optimism involved.
And talk to us about American optimism. What does that mean to you?
Well, we generally like to think that things will turn out well. And in fact, they can. But this optimism needs to be supported by policies and action that can help the future become better. It doesn't just come out of thin air. So, and I mean, the way we prepare for a better future, for example, by saving, spending less on our credit cards, prepare for a better future. Governments also need to prepare for that better future. In many ways, this government perhaps has focused more on tax cuts, which is useful for everyone, but we need more focus on making sure farmers have the fertilizers they need so that the crop yield does not drop, so that we have enough crops at the end of the season, and so the food prices will not raise too much, because already they're going to go up because of the oil prices. So we don't want them to go even more up because of this fertilizer problem.
Well, I'm looking at some of your work here. Corn tortilla prices rise relatively quickly when corn prices increase. I mean, for somebody that went to the Wharton School of Business, I'm just asking the question, and it's not a quiet question. Here it is, the leader of the free world, um, who vehemently, to this day, doesn't understand fundamentally what it means to apply a tariff, let alone tax a tariff, and who pays the tariff. And here we are, the ripple effects of picking fights, um, particularly with those that can control the weather, outcome, and financial discomfort of your country. I just can't say that they knowingly took this under consideration. I don't even think that that was a part of the discussion. Because if it were, how could we had willingly done this to millions of people? Like you said, was it 381 million that will be impacted?
This is in the world. I mean, they're already in the world. There's 380 million in the world that are already in a critical food situation, and you know, a bunch of those already in famine conditions. Meaning, you know, if we don't provide to them food right away, they're going to starve
to death.
And you know, the commonalities I think with people, and maybe to just make an analogy for. Because, you know, we're talking about fertilizer with people and fertilizer. I mean, just think of babies, you know, or, you know, you have to feed them when they need it. You have to feed them when they have a growth spurt. You cannot say, oh, I will skip the early feeding and feed them later on. And the plants are like that. You know, you have to give them the fertilizer when they need it early on. And if you don't give it to them, you will have less crops. So food is necessary for people. It's necessary for feeding the plants. And, you know, I wasn't there when the planning was done, so I cannot answer to that. But I can tell you that the impact of the tariffs, even those from several years ago, is still felt today. I mean, to give you an idea, again, to focus on crops, you know, when we put tariffs, the tariffs really affected American farmers. And as a consequence, we saw an increase in planting in Brazil, and now Brazil has become a more direct competitor to the U.S. So by putting tariffs between the U.S. and China, we've helped a new competitor, Brazil, become stronger in the world and a more fierce competitor to American farming and farmers.
Well, I definitely appreciate the work that you are doing. I look forward to having you back soon, particularly as the world awaits on pins and needles what will be the fate of this conflict, this unsanctioned and unconstitutional war led by the United States of America with Iran, and particularly the devastation of the ripple effect at the Strait of Hormuz as we discuss the impact of the global supply chain of food globally, worldwide. I want to thank you, Professor, for stopping by the Cleopatra Show.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless. And remember, everyone, you know, talk to your representative, pressure them on these issues so that we can see action.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Listen, guys, it's been a blast to be with you for Fired Up Wednesday. Be sure to like and share the show. That's how we're going to spread the word right here at WVON. Please, when you get a chance, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Cleopatra Show. I'm trying to get my likes up, get my weight up. Meanwhile, there's some special tea that's going to spill for you, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Tomorrow, I'm going to debut an exclusive sit-down between AOC and I. That's right, the Congresswoman straight out of the Bronx. You'll hear a promo that will run, and she is coming with that thunder and lightning from one millennial to another. I'm your favorite, but she the gunslinger in the congressional halls of Congress. That's right, Cleopatra and AOC is coming to you tomorrow for Thoughtful Thursday. You don't want to miss it. Don't be late for class. Only at the Cleopatra Show at 9 a.m.
Partly cloudy and 62 degrees on this Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. I'm in Illinois, and in the headlines, today is Earth Day. Millions around the world, including here in Chicago, pause to celebrate, clean up, and preserve the planet so that the nearly 8 billion humans on it can continue to thrive. Voters